looping, cheating for offense, flawed value system. These are some of the terms that you are going to hear today as we look back on Sunday's loss to the Winnipeg Jets and prepare to look ahead to the next game on the schedule against the Calgary Flames. There are a few Penguins players in particular who are going to be the recipients of some hard coaching today, and it might surprise you who they are. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to dive right in right now. All right, so what do we mean by disconnected defensively, disengaged? Some, not all players on the Penguins team that were in the lineup on Sunday being guilty of playing bad hockey. First off, I want to share this. Everything that we're going to cover is very, very correctable. Everything that we're going to cover here today can be improved on. But it's going to require a level of concentration and a commitment to a value system that we have not seen lately, especially on Sunday against Winnipeg. The Pittsburgh Penguins had too many players, too many key players, guilty of cheating, or if you want to word it a nice way, improper anticipation when the team was still on defense. They're thinking offense when they should be thinking defense, and we all know great defense leads to great offense. We just had too many players on Sunday night. Here I go again. Too many key players. How's that for a teaser? On the wrong side of the puck. Way too much looping at times from certain players versus stopping and starting in the defensive zone. Looping versus stopping and starting, I have found in my 16 years in coaching, is the number one cause of poor defensive zone coverage, and it's the number one area that disconnects a team when they don't have the puck. Stick purpose and detail is something that a few Penguins players can really improve upon defensively. When should I have one hand on my stick, and when should I go to two? We have a few players that need some reminders in this area. At times, the Penguins are guilty of a lack of layers defensively, specifically when they cover the opponent's defensemen, when they cover the opponent's points. I think this is an adjustment area for Mike Sullivan and the coaching staff moving forward. We'll get to that in a bit. And at times, the Penguins were just a little too loose and too hesitant on their arrivals and their reports to the defensive zone. They need to come back more 1 through 5. They need to stop versus loop. And they need to recognize when is it a breakout and when is it defensive zone coverage. Let's take another step. We know the what. Now let's look at the who, because I think you're going to find this piece quite interesting. All right, I usually like to go to the video right about now, but we're going to do the video in a bit. I thought you all might enjoy this. I broke down Sunday's game, like me or not, with the same level of diligence and detail as I would if the Pittsburgh Penguins were my team. I broke it down like a coach. That's my responsibility to you as part of this feature here on National Hockey Now. Part of my breakdown, part of my debrief was to look at the scoring chances, not only collectively, but by line, by personnel. First off, the scoring chances in the hockey game. This might surprise some of you who are in a bad mood here today about the Penguins' performance in Winnipeg. The Penguins outchanced the Winnipeg Jets 23-21 overall. Now, heads up, scoring chance. Coaches have different definitions. My definition might be slightly different than Mike Sullivan's. My definition might be a bit different than the analytics company that breaks the game down. For me, and I can get into this in a future episode if some of you want to dive deep, scoring chances to me, it's anything that poses a threat for the goaltender. More on that, potentially a deeper dive definition at a later date. But for me, 23-21 Penguins. There might be some shocked faces at your end when you see that. 5-on-5 scoring chances were 18 for, 18 against. The 18-4 includes Pittsburgh's second and third goal, and the 18 against includes Winnipeg's second, fourth, and fifth goal. All right, 5-on-4 power play, 4 versus 5 or 5 versus 4 penalty killing, however you want to look at it. The Penguins generated 4 scoring chances on the power play, including their first goal. They didn't give up any chances while they were on the power play, and they also didn't give up any chances when they were on the penalty kill, from my standpoint. I realize, again, some of this is subjective. So huge shout out to Mike Vellucci, who I believe is in charge of the penalty kill, for a job well done. 4-on-4, no chances for, 1 against. That was Winnipeg's third goal of the hockey game. 6-on-5, the Penguins generated 1 chance. They gave up 1. It was the 6th goal, an empty netter. Some count that, some don't. I counted in the overall. And the Pittsburgh Penguins also gave up a goal when they were down 6-on-5, actually. And that was the first goal against on a delayed penalty. What does this amount to? 23-21 and 18-18 5-on-5. What I want to do now is I want to really zero in on the 5-on-5 chances for and against from a personnel standpoint, and start to illustrate to you how a lot of the cause here, it's disconnected defensively, it's a bit of disengagement, and it's some bad hockey, plain and simple. All right, I'm not going to waste any time here, and I'm not going to hold back. When we look at chances for versus against, forward lines and D pairs, here's where the problems are. The D pair of Marcus Pettersson and Erik Karlsson, they were on the ice for 6 chances for 5-on-5. That's a nice number. Here's the problem. They were on the ice for 10 chances against. That's a -4 differential. This is a tricky pair because this is a tricky guy. Erik Karlsson has elite talent offensively. There's no denying it. He might be a great guy. He might be a great teammate, but he just strikes me as being awfully difficult to play with. I gotta think when Marcus Pettersson's alone at night at the end of a long day and he's looking in the mirror, I gotta think at least sometimes he thinks to himself, geez, I wouldn't mind playing with a different partner who's a little bit calmer. -4 is not gonna cut it. Up front, the line of O'Connor, who's been a beast for the Penguins, Sidney Crosby and Brian Rust, on the ice for 6 chances for and 9 against. They were a -3. That's not good. We're going to look at it in the video, but something's not right with Sidney Crosby right now. He did some good things in Sunday's game, but I did not like the things that were wrong with Sidney Crosby's game, and I didn't care for Brian Rust too much either. And that's saying a lot because I am a big Brian Rust fan. The line of Raquel, Malkin, and Puljujarvi on for 2 chances for and 4 against. They were -2 in terms of chance for against differential. The challenge with this line was Puljujarvi, who I am a big fan of. I don't like this line. This needs to be rectified immediately by Coach Sullivan. Putting Puljujarvi with Malkin is not a good combination because Puljujarvi plays differently. See, in training camp and in the first part of the season, when Puljujarvi was playing with the so-called other depth guys, I know we don't like top 6, bottom 6 nowadays, but I'll use the term bottom 6 because you know what I mean. His game was a lot simpler. His game was a lot more stronger and powerful. His game last night against Winnipeg, not so good. You know, Malkin, I didn't love his game either, but Gino's got to play with a degree of freedom and looseness to his game. To an extent, it's what makes him special. Puljujarvi didn't help there. You're going to see it on the video. 18 was on the wrong side of the puck way too much. And when he had it, he played like a player that was under pressure to give it to the 2 talented top 6 line forwards on the Penguins team, Malkin and Raquel. And Raquel, like at times, like O'Connor, tried to hold it together. It just it was a lot to deal with. Now take a look at this. Eller, who has been one of the most steady Eddie players for the Penguins, and he's had some offense to his game, which is awesome for him. Eller, Beauvillier, and Cody Glass on the ice for 8 chances for 5-on-5 and just 1 against. They were +7. That's unbelievable. You can't ask for much more out of your bottom 6 than that. If I could hang out and spend time with one Penguins player right now and grab a coffee, it would be Anthony Beauvillier. This guy's doing everything he's got to do for a player in his position. He is trying so hard after playing for 3 teams last year to really solidify himself as a staple in the Penguins lineup. And I have really enjoyed the jam and the awareness from Glass. And like we said in the very first episode, it just seems like everybody that plays with Lars Eller takes on his identity. And you know what? The so-called fourth line of Achari, Hayes, and Puustinen, they were -1. They weren't on the ice for any chances for. They were on the ice for 1 chance against. I like this line. Achari, you pretty much get the same thing out of him every game. He's consistent. He's stable. He's in the absolute right spot, given his skill set as a player and his attributes. Puustinen, you can't ask for much more from him in terms of first game back from an injury. His defensive conscience and his play without the puck was real good. And Kevin Hayes, I give this guy a lot of credit. There were some criticisms on Hayes in the preseason that he doesn't play fast enough. He looks a lot faster now because he's playing tighter and he's in the right spots. Scored a big goal against Montreal on the road trip. This group doesn't concern me at all. Now, going back to the D. All right, I wanted to lead with 28 and 65. I wanted to lead with 87. I wanted to lead with 71's line because I think this is an issue. I think we got some issues in here, and I think we got some issues over here. 24 and 58, Grzelcyk and Letang on the ice for 6-4, 3 against, +3. Letang drives me a little crazy at times, but you know what? You can almost count on Chris Letang. Anytime he makes a poor play, he usually makes up for it later. The numbers back that up. And for a third pair, Graves and Shea, 4 chances for, they were on the ice for 3 against, they were +1. Like for a third pair, defensemen 5 and 6 in the lineup, you can't ask for much more than that. All right, we had a couple other lines that personnel ended up together, just Mike Sullivan trying stuff, trying to get the rotation back, same thing on D. But in general, this is the tail of the tape here. This is the tail of the tape. This has to improve. This has to improve. And this has to improve. What specifically has to improve? Show me the video evidence to back it up. Well, that is what we're going to do right now for the members of our audience who are really freaking into this stuff. All right, we've dimmed the lights. I'm going to show you some actual video today straight from the software that I use as a coach when I break the game down. This is video evidence that supports what we've talked about and looked at so far here in today's episode. Pittsburgh Penguins are going back for the puck here. This is a goalie breakout situation early in the hockey game. Nedeljkovic stops the puck. He plays it strong side. Drew O'Connor makes an effort to intercept or stop the rim from Nedeljkovic. The puck gets out to the strong side point. Sid does what he should do here, and that's go out to the point. Drew O'Connor would now be a low forward. He would be like the center in D-zone coverage, and Sid would be like the strong side winger here. The read is correct, but I don't like what Sidney Crosby does now. This is not like him. He goes out to the point. He's got 2 hands on his stick, not one. Sid's almost always low to the ice, 1 hand on the stick in pursuit, and he finishes his check. I always tell wingers, I always tell the forward going out to the point, if you go out and the puck gets moved down, stop on the man. Don't finish him and get back in the play. Same thing for Brian Rust here. We got to get back in the play. With the puck down in here, we got to get our wingers back in this area here. 5 in the picture connected. Unfortunately, Russ turns away again. Sid's a little late getting back. And here's the second issue with Sid. Again, not overly engaged. This is not like him. The Sidney Crosby I know goes one hand on the stick, low to the ice, stick on puck, but he goes with two hands, his stick up in the air, and he kind of like, he throws the body again, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense here. We recover back to decent position. Drew O'Connor does a hell of a job winning the low battle, and Sid, this is his third error. Some would say this is the worst one, throws it away right in the middle of the rink. If Sid's going to feed Erik Karlsson, he's got to turn, surround it, steady it, and move it right away. Otherwise, it'll chip play off the wall to Brian Rust in the alley. Then Karlsson's joining if we get out, and maybe we're going to offense. But instead, Sid with an uncharacteristic turnover in the middle of the rink. So to me, not stopping and starting, unnecessary finishing of checks, two hands on the stick when we should have one, upright when we should be low, and then turnover in the middle of the rink. Just not the Sidney Crosby I know, and not an image of the Penguins when they're at their best. To be fair, I think the Penguins have improved defending the rush. I believe that. Here's an illustration of it with a loop that I don't like from 87. Winnipeg comes up the rink. The defensemen, Grzelcyk and Letang, are in a good spot. Stick extended, protecting the middle of the rink. Brian Rust is the first forward back. He's got his guy. Nothing against here. Nothing against. Low percentage shot. Easy save for Nedeljkovic. Now, what's Sid's job here as the fourth player back to the zone, his job is to stop in here. And Drew O'Connor is the fifth guy back. His job is to stop in here. We need five in the picture taking care of the middle of the rink. Unfortunately, Sid loops away. Winnipeg player punches it through. Thankfully, Nedeljkovic is able to smother this. If Ned gives up the rebound here, which he shouldn't, but if he does, or if this shot Tuesday in Calgary is placed low off the pad, we've got a wide open Winnipeg player on the back door. And if Sid would have just stopped here versus gone for that extra skate, he would have been right on time. The looping and the circling concerns me a bit. We need more stopping and starting, especially from the captain, who can be the best at it when he wants to be. This is further video evidence of what we mean when we say disengage defensively. This is also another clip that illustrates why Sid's line was on the minus side in terms of chances for and against, -3. All right, this is a defensive zone faceoff early in the third period in a 3-3 hockey game on the road. D-zone draw, we lose the draw. The center's job in any lost face-off situation in the D-zone is to tie up his man. Brian Rust's job is to come out, jump through off the loss. Drew O'Connor does what he should do, layered back in this area here, protecting the middle, ready to go out if the puck goes D to D. Rust comes out. Great job by the defenseman to shoot for a stick here. Grzelcyk gets it kind of just in time. So we got a one-on-one here from Letang. Good. Grzelcyk's going for his one-on-one. Sidney Crosby misses his one-on-one here. Not engaged. Sidney Crosby's a hell of a player. One of the best players in the world. He's a champion. But this is bad hockey. It's in the net. Center, always tie up your centerman off of a lost D-zone draw. Do not get beat to the net. Crosby knows this. For some reason, he just wasn't engaged. Struggled with this. As a result, didn't help his team and didn't help his cause on Sunday in Winnipeg. This is a momentum situation. We're under a minute to play in the second in a tie game. 4-on-4. And what happens here is everything we've been talking about today that we got to try to not have happen moving forward. And if it happens, it can't happen as much as it happened in this game. Winnipeg enters the zone. 4-on-4, you always got to try to come back in a box and stop in this area here. Lars Eller actually, he kind of loops away, turns his back to the play. That opens up the lane. That's not like Eller. Nedeljkovic comes up with a huge save. Now, here's the puzzler for me. Puck is in behind the net. Lars Eller goes low. We've got 3 white jerseys below the goal line in a 4-on-4 situation. That's not good. Now, the guy that can save the day here is Gino. He's got to recognize, just look and count. I got 1, 2, and 3 teammates low. Geez, I better stop in this area here. One hand on the stick, play big and long, and protect the middle in case the puck gets into this area. But watch, Gino turns away and goes for a loop. Now, it doesn't cost them at this particular moment, but that's not good hockey. That is a disconnected look defensively. Now, here's the cherry on top of the cake. Grzelcyk battles, wins the battle, knocks the puck up the wall. Eller goes low to the ice, one hand on the stick to try to get his stick on the puck. Letang is a little too itchy here, anticipating offense. Grzelcyk, I would like to see backing the play up more in here. And where on earth is Malkin? I have to actually pull it back to find him. I can't even see him. He's so far off the screen. There he goes for the loop. Where is he here? I mean, he's way off the screen. Tanger's going. Grzelcyk is not doing an A+ job backing up his pass or backing up the play. One battle on the wall. Grzelcyk tries like hell. Letang is a second late. Puck's in the net. 3-2 Winnipeg. Momentum situation, 4-on-4, and they're going back to the dressing room down a goal. But where's Gino? Way too much looping, way too much circling, not enough stopping and starting. We're disconnected, we're disengaged. You know, I got to call it like I see it here. No good. All right, I want to play this clip because I want to address Marcus Pettersson's penalty, because there's a lot of people beating up on him today for taking a penalty at around the halfway point of the first period, because some feel that the game turned on this Winnipeg power play and this penalty by Pettersson, and that is not the case. And for anyone out there that's going to be hard on Pettersson here, I want to challenge you and ask you, what do you expect him to do? So Sid moves the puck low to high, real nice job. Now, what I don't like here is, I always teach my defensemen, I love that we want to spread it out, but the weak side D should always start about in line with the First National Bank logo. And then when it gets up high to Karlsson, now Pettersson starts to widen out. I think if he were more on the line and if he widened out more with Karlsson, I would hope Karlsson would receive this puck low to high and move it over to him right away. In any event, Karlsson dusts it, over handles, and I don't know what Pettersson's supposed to do here. That is a high danger pass from Erik Karlsson. High danger pass. And then, you know, if those of you that are mad at Pettersson today, what do you want him to do here? If he doesn't do something to bring this player down, it's a 2-on-0, because Karlsson, God bless him, but after he makes the pass, turnover, he kind of just goes for a little bit of a skate. I mean, if I'm Karlsson, it's like, oh crap, hit the brakes, hustle, back through the middle. So, a couple reasons for showing this clip. Number one, don't put it all on Pettersson. Number two, we could always be a little bit more connected offensively. And number three, you know, these are the types of decisions that Karlsson makes that puts that pair at such a heavy dash in the game, chances for versus chances against. I mentioned how I wasn't in love with 18's game, Puljujärvi, and I didn't like him with Malkin. And I thought that Puljujärvi being on the wrong side caused some of the issues for Malkin's line. And this is what I mean. So Winnipeg deposits the puck. Penguins come back. Malkin goes for a little bit of a loop. Here's Puljujärvi. Now the play's behind the net here. Jesse Puljujärvi should be right in here in line with the puck. But we should have that nice, tight, connected look. But Puljujärvi, you can see it as he's exiting the screen. He drifts, he floats, he fades. And as a result, he is late when that puck gets to the front. At the end of the day, if Puljujärvi stops and is more in here, when that puck gets to here, he could be right on top of the receiver, Nikolai Ehlers, and take his stick away. So to me, Puljujärvi's got to be more on the inside, where I believe he had been previously on the right side of the puck, not on the outside, drifting outside the play. Again, like I think some of Puljujärvi's issues is he's thinking offense because he's playing with Malkin. I really believe that. Now, he has to take ownership for that. You know, the player has to take ownership for that, but I also think it's a good opportunity for Sullivan. I wouldn't play those guys together. For me, Puljujärvi should be in that bottom six role right now, especially at this stage of the game for him. Okay, and here's another one of what I mean with Puljujärvi. So Winnipeg deposits the puck. All right, Raquel's back, Malkin's back. You know, Malkin goes low to play center. Raquel goes to his wing. Puljujärvi's thinking offense, right? Going. We don't have the puck though, Yessie. They do. So you got to, at least right now, you got to stop and get back. But he bumps into the weak side D. Okay, well now you got to hit the brakes and you got to get back down in here like there's no tomorrow, because that's your position. That's Raquel's position. That's your position. But like, count it with me. 1, 2, 3. He's not even in the picture. And we come up with the puck here, and he gives the puck to Rickard Rakell in a really not ideal situation. Like the Jesse Puljujärvi I know, earlier in the year, as in preseason, maybe first 2 to 3 games, he gets this puck. He's being a big man. He's underhandling, driving outside, buying time for Raquel to fight for the middle, Gino to get in the dot lane. Here comes the second wave. But you see, he passes here because I think he feels compelled to give Raquel and Malkin the puck. Again, that decision is on him, but the decision to put the line together, we control that as coaches. Puljujärvi needs to play better. I think we can help him by not putting him with these two guys. I just don't think it's a very good fit. Believe it or not, I actually had more video to show you, but I'm going to leave it there. I think you get the idea. A lot of what we looked at on tape should support some of the points we made on the board and should lend some credibility to the numbers, even if we don't like the numbers. We have a few Penguins players that need a great bounce back game in Calgary and need to show that their value system aligns with what the Penguins need to do to play good hockey and really have a fighting chance on this road trip, which is far from complete. What we're going to do is we're going to wrap today's episode of the Debrief now, and we're going to come back Tuesday before the game against Calgary, and we're going to talk strictly about moving forward. How do we take this information? How do we deliver it to the team? And how do we give our guys the best chance to be successful come Tuesday night in what is a huge all eyes on the Penguins bounce back game? Until then, stay calm and try not to lose your mind, at least not too much, because we'll turn the page and we'll be ready for Calgary.